discovery of a new hominid species, Homo creationist, based on morphological and genetic evidence. Live specimens were collected from multiple sites, including several walking museum specimens from Petersburg, Kentucky, from faculty offices at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, from a mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and from a Mormon temple in Ogden, Utah. Skeletal fragments were collected from multiple suicide bomber sites in the Middle East during the 1990s, southern Manhattan, New York in 2001, large numbers of burial sites in the United Kingdom established prior to 1869, and a 4004 BCE near full skeletal interment, less one rib. Despite its broad overlap with its sister species, Homo sapiens, Homo creationist is reproductively distinct and rarely associates with Homo sapiens, except through antagonistic, non-sexual behavior, apparently due to evolutionary differences in communicability. Homo creationist is morphologically distinct from both Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthalensis. Despite exhibiting similar-sized cranial cavities, the brain of Homo creationist is distinctly non-hemispheric, entirely lacking the left brain's analytical and logical functionality so widely reported from Homo sapiens. Further, the cranial thickness of the skull of Homo creationist averages 9.2 millimeters thickness, greater than any previously described hominid, primate, or tetrapod ever reported from living or fossil evidence. Sequencing of the genome of Homo creationist reveals a particularly distinct array of differences from not only Homo sapiens, but from all other known forms of life on Earth. Homo creationist lacks any non-coding DNA and exhibits 94.997% fewer genes than in Homo sapiens, suggesting an unprecedented loss of junk DNA from the species genome. Despite its apparent worldwide historical distribution, Homo creationist has been widely extirpated from broad reaches of its former range and may now be threatened with extinction in the United States, with the exception of a few universities, including Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and several other so-called Christian universities. The species appears to have been radically extirpated from institutions of higher learning in the last few decades. Habitat analysis indicates that Homo creationist thrives in remote, non-urban areas with minimal contact from Homo sapiens. Reduction of this habitat through technological changes and the invasive and highly territorial behavior of Homo sapiens appears to be directly correlated with the disappearance of Homo creationist from its former habitat. Population models suggest that unless measures are taken immediately, the rate of extirpation of Homo creationist is likely to increase over coming decades, and the species is likely to become entirely extinct within the next half century. Like other primitive hominids, Homo creationist appears to be poorly adapted to life in a dynamic and changing world, and the species is becoming increasingly marginalized and isolated, seemingly incapable of adapting to its new environment. This growing body of scientific evidence suggests that recent efforts to erode the historical protections of the Endangered Species Act will likely result in the imminent loss of our closest relative after Homo neanderthalensis, which is already extinct.